Level by Level Gaming, and let's go with the second video of the Street Fighter Multicade. If you like that kind of thing, please hit the like button, subscribe, let me know what you think. So this cab is completely stripped out. You can see the original harness down on the ground here, and it is down to the bare bones. And one of the first things I noticed when I was stripping this thing out is this Coinco label right here. Look at the manufacturer date on that. That is 1983. Street Fighter didn't come out till 1991, 1992, that time frame. And so maybe I thought maybe that this assembly came out in 83 and this sticker was just put on here. Maybe this isn't original to this. So maybe they just need to replace it and they put the Coinco label on there. I mean, it's a possibility, but I saw that and thought to myself, well, here we go. Seen it a million times where these cabinets would get repurposed and reused and turned into other things, and that's exactly what we're doing with it now. The second thing that I saw here as I started to strip out this cabinet is I saw where the back of the panel does not fit the front of the panel. You can see that there is a large opening here for possibly a joystick or a little small roller ball right in the middle of the console. There's some holes that have been plugged here. This was plugged so they could screw in this new joystick for the Street Fighter. There is one that goes to nowhere. Here's another one, another hole, and that's all been covered up by this reapplied layer of vinyl across the front here. So, you know, it just shows that these 6 button holes were new to this console. These joysticks were new, and at one point in time, possibly in the early 80s, which that date says, that there was something, a joystick or a rollerball in the middle, and then some other buttons to do some other things that were already here. So this console has been repurposed. That's no big deal. This cabinet is solid made. It was well worth the money, and it is an original cabinet to something, just not to Street Fighter 2, at least in my opinion. You know, the original owner said it was a Williams cabinet, and it could be, I mean, but like I said, the whole point is you can turn into a multicade. Whoever, the history of this machine, starting from the early 80s, this thing has been turned into other machines and then made its way into being a Street Fighter 2 machine. So let's go around the cabinet here. Actually, let's go over here and I will show you the original screen. This is the screen that came out of it. I just pulled that whole harness out and got a hold of the handles there. Once I got it unbolted, slid it out and set it down here on a piece of cardboard to protect the glass. The screen is just a little dull, which is to be expected from possibly a 30-year-old machine or 30-year-old monitor. I don't know the exact date on that. I haven't dug into this, all these labels and everything. But it's a good 19-inch CRT that could be used for another project or kept with this cabinet. So if somebody ever wanted to revert it back to original retro machine, they could do so. Let's go over here and let's look at the original board that came out of this machine. And here is the Street Fighter board, made in Japan. It looks good, it's clean, and the machine worked. So here is a operator's manual, and this is going to be from, there's 1991, 1992. So I was correct with the years of the Street Fighter 2 here when this was produced. So this is the board, the manual, and I'm going to keep all this hardware. There was some original keys that were on it, hanging from a nail inside the cabinet, even though the locks have been punched. So we'll keep that together. Might as well. I'll back all that stuff up. Now here is the modern display that I just picked up, used for this cabinet. If I can get it to focus, sometimes that sheen on the screen makes it where it won't. But I believe that's Ayama. I hope I'm saying that correct. Just picked this up and it has a DVI, HDMI, and the regular, I think that's RGB, or if I'm saying that wrong, you guys let me know. The regular component for a computer screen. So that's 24 inches. It's a 24-inch display diagonally, and it fits perfect in the space for this build. So I'm really pleased with that. And here is some of the original stuff that came out of it. This is going to get cleaned up, and if we can get this looking good and reuse this, that'd be great. If not, once I clean it, if it still looks bad, we'll just get some new plexiglass off the measure and cut everything out. The original bezel here, this glass, which is not going to be used anymore. It's got a big chip on it down the side here, but this was the glass that was in the machine, and one of the wooden panels across the back. Actually, one of those original keys fits this, but this panel has been screwed in to the back, so that lock wasn't even being used. But one of those keys that are over there actually fits that. So let me think if there's anything else I wanted to point out. Oh, I almost didn't show you guys the nail in the coffin, the final clue. This machine was not manufactured as a Street Fighter II machine, and that is this stamp in the cab itself. So this was produced August 3rd, 1983, and so this wooden cabinet was definitely something else, has been other things over its lifespan. There is a label in here for Street Fighter II that's been placed on this coin box. I mean, it is what it is. This is a modern or a newer retro arcade power supply. This supply in here is pretty daggone original and old. This went to something at one point in time in its life, and not anymore, and it looks like it's been tied up and this laid off to the side in here, because when I undid the harness and started working with all this, this wasn't involved in anything. It's just off to the side there. There is a label here for the power supply, model number, so I could look that up if I wanted to get a better idea of the actual date of this power supply. But I'm good with it. It works, and we're going to repurpose everything and use it for this multicade. Everything, the cord, everything. So let's see what else. Oh, the sound was soldered in, so that's another thing saying that the harness and everything used to be something else, and they had just cut and soldered in all that. Now with the harness, which I'm going to keep, like I said, he's taking all this, I'm going to box it all up and put everything with the machine so it can stay with what it came with. This is a different type of joystick than I was used to seeing. It's got this big square box on the back of it, so I hadn't seen that before. That's pretty neat. The way these buttons are rigged up with the switch sliding into the button this way, and then being screwed in with a Phillips screw, and then when you hit the button, a plunger goes along and activates the switch, like you can see here. I'm so used to seeing these where they're mounted into the button like that and depressed. When you push the button in, there's a plunger that hits them on the top here. So that was kind of neat, seeing a different way. I left one of these rigged up so whoever comes back along behind me can see exactly how that button goes in there. It might, however many years down the road, somebody else is dealing with this harness, they can see how these buttons are configured. Some of these buttons are connected what I like traditionally here with these fast connectors, and then some of these buttons were straight soldered. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Straight soldered in, so they soldered the buttons on. So I'm just going to wrap this up as neat as I can, box up all these old buttons and all this hardware. One problem that I did run into with the cabinet is when I was trying to get these out of the control panel. You can see these would have went in like so. They've got a square. They were originally smooth on the top, and they have like this square head on the inside there that's supposed to keep them from turning. Every one of these, when I turned them, this whole thing was spinning like this. It was just spinning, and I had no way of stopping it when I was trying to take everything apart. So I had to get my little cutting wheel there, my little knockoff rotary tool that I've had for years, and way cheaper than a Dremel. It's been through a lot. Picked that thing up and it's earned its weight in gold. I picked that thing up and used the little cutting wheel here to create a notch in the back of this and hold on to it with a screwdriver so I could take the bolts off of it. So, or take the nuts off of it. So these are going to get replaced. You know, I'll still box all that stuff up. All right, well, that's just been a tour of the cabinet, where it stands at this point, the new screen that's going to go in it, and we will continue on with this build. So thank you guys so much for watching. Level by Level Gaming, I'm out.